Hello everybody, my name is Codlon3639. Welcome back to another video. Today, in this one, it's going to be another card analysis video, and in this one, it's going to be why Maxx C is banned and should it be unbanned. So this is going to be a little bit different of a card analysis video. So Maxx C is, of course, one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. So in this episode, it's not going to be like, is it good or not? Everyone knows it's a fucking powerful card. It's going to be more like going through the arguments on why it should be banned and why it should be unbanned. We're going to go through all those arguments. I have a little discussion on what TCG versus OCG kind of thing, and then give you my opinions on what I think Maxx C should be at. It's one of the most it split the community very, very much. It feels like half the community wants the card to be unbanned and half the community wants it to stay on the ban list forever. So I'm going to be going through the card's effect and all that stuff like a normal card analysis video and then going through the arguments. But without further ado though, let's get straight into the video. So before we get into the arguments, we must first cover the effect of Maxx C if you don't know what the effect is. So it's a level 2 Earth Insect monster that has 500 attack and 200 defense. That really doesn't matter, it's more for its effect. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, each time your opponent special summons a monster, immediately draw one card, and you can only use one Maxx C per turn. Now, if I have to explain to you why that card effect is stupid, let's just say in the current format, Dragon Link being one of the best decks in today's current format, that deck special summons at least 10 to 15 times a turn. So you get 15 draws with this card if Dragon Link, again, lets you get to that point. So let's just say Pot of Greed is banned, and that only lets you draw 2 cards uninterrupted, while Maxx C can theoretically let you literally draw out your entire deck if your opponent just keeps special summoning and stuff like that. It's one of the most powerful cards in history. I don't need to explain why. I kind of explained why, but like if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you should understand why that card is just so broken. But without further ado, let's get into the arguments on why it should be unbanned. So I have broken down the unbanned argument into 4 different points here. So the first one is being limited would be better, as in making sure it's at 1 would be better because you would not see it that much in the game, so there wouldn't be that much of a difference. When 1 mixed with 2, it can be stopped. So let's just Maxx C can be stopped right now. Things like Called by the Grave, things like Ash Blossom can stop like that. Solemn Strike can stop it. Any monster effect negation can stop Maxx C. So if you mix that with it being at 1, if people saw it at 1, if they even draw it, it might as well be stopped anyway. So that's kind of an argument. It's at 1 it would be better because it can be stopped anyways. And then at the third argument for them is if it does not stop the special summon, it makes them reconsider. So their argument's like, the card never says that it doesn't special summon, and that is right. It doesn't prevent special summon. It makes them reconsider the special summon, and that is very good. And people also argue that Maxx C would be a very good counter against combo decks in the past couple of years. Again, we have been in a really heavy combo deck format. We're kind of moving away from it now. Dragon Link seems to be like the last deck that we're going to be moving, because we're moving really more into a control format. So, and that's where Maxx C doesn't really thrive as much. Maxx C would really thrive through a combo deck format, which we have been experiencing in the past. And their argument is if we had Maxx C, combo decks would be instantly stopped. And they are correct about that. Maxx C would prevent combo decks from going off and like doing 20 minutes a turn kind of thing. And then their fourth argument is the OCG has it unlimited. That is also true. The Maxx C is at 3 in the OCG currently right now. So that's what I got the arguments down to. 1 and 2 can be mixed together, because I think being limited and it can be stopped and needs to go together. Because being limited, we'll explain when we get into the why people think it should stay banned portion. But yeah, number 3 is kind of their main argument. It doesn't stop special summon, it makes them reconsider the special summon. So that is the banned or unbanned arguments. Now let's get into the banned argument. So the banned arguments is more going to be like a rebuttal to what the unbanned argument is kind of saying. So one, it's a card that's either at 0, at 3. So people in the banned argument argues that if it's at 1, it becomes this sacky one-of that if you draw it, it ends up just winning you the game if it can't be stopped. It's just that good of a card. So it just becomes the sacky one-of. Yes, everyone would play that sacky one-of, but people would be more pissed losing to Maxx C when it's at 1 than people would be pissed when losing to Maxx C when it's at 3. So people have argued it's either a card that stays at 0 or at 3. Either no one has it or everyone has it at 3 kind of thing. So that's their first argument. Their second argument is just because it can be stopped does not mean it always will. Just because there's cards that can stop Maxx C in the game, you can say that to any card in today's game. Any card can be stopped by any other card. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, the kind of thing. That's kind of how the format is right now. You kind of try to stop your opponent from comboing off by using cards that would stop their combo. So yes, just because Maxx C can be stopped, it's once its effect is gone through, how much will that change the game and how much of an advantage will it give to your opponent that has activated the card. So that is their kind of argument. Just because it can be stopped doesn't mean it always will. And number 3, it stop turns or gives your opponent way too much advantage. In today's current format where special summoning happens all the time, Maxx C is a very good card against that. But it's kind of thing, once Maxx C has resolved its effect, your opponent basically is in a lose-lose situation. Either completely stops its turn, so make sure the opponent doesn't gain any advantage off it, but then leaves on an empty board, and your opponent in today's current format would most likely OTK you on the following turn. Or it just gives your opponent way too much. Let's say you do combo off. Your opponent would basically draw out their entire deck, except for maybe like 5 cards or something like that, and basically draw that out to any board you would ever make against that hand. 30 cards in a hand would stop any card, especially in today's game with Dark Ruler No More and Forbidden Droplet in the game. Basically, if they draw into that, whatever board you have, they're not going to care about. Now, of course, so that is kind of their argument for why it should stay banned. No matter how you look at it, the person that activated Maxx C will always gain the advantage because it's either the opponent just passes to them with an empty board, or the opponent plays and gives the opponent, the person that's activated Maxx C, way too much advantage and most likely will draw the out to whatever board they'll get into. Drawing cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the most sacred things in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pot of Greed is banned because of that reason. Most of the draw 2 cards in today's current format usually has a negative side. Pot of Desires, usually you have to banish 1/4 of your deck just to get that draw 2 cards. Pot of Extravagance, you only get to have to banish like half of your extra deck just to get that draw 2 cards. It's kind of one of those things that you have to have a disadvantage. Things like Upstart Garland, where they only let you draw 1 card, is limited to 1 because of how good it is. So Maxx C is, again, could be one of these cards that lets you draw 2 or even way more. Is kind of really good. So that's why it gives you your opponent way too much advantage. So that's the arguments on why it should stay banned. Now, their fourth argument from the OCG format is different from the TCG. I actually got a whole slide on why. I want to cover a whole slide on just that alone. So let's get into that right now. So the TCG versus OCG argument. I want to cover this in its own slide because I feel like it should. So the unbanned argument says that the OCG has it at 3. Why can't the TCG have it at 3? That's the unbanned argument. It's like, well, if the OCG has it at 3, why can't the TCG have it at 3? And then the banned argument is the OCG format is way too different from the TCG format, which is also true. It's just, it's way too different. You don't know what it can do if you bring Maxx C over here at 3. It's a completely different format what the OCG has compared to this TCG. Now, the truth lies in the middle, I think. The OCG format is different because of Maxx C. Maxx C being in a format really does change that format. It changes how forbidden and limited lists are made. As you can see, Block Dragon currently over there is at 3, while over here in the TCG it's completely banned because again, Maxx C not being in the format. Not only does Maxx C change how people play the game, it changes how they deck build. They have to not only include Maxx C, but they then have to include all the counters to Maxx C. And let's just say the OCG has at least 1/4 of their deck filled up with just Maxx C counters because they know how powerful Maxx C is. So not only does Maxx C change the format, it changes how deck building goes and all that stuff. Because of Maxx C's at 3, the OCG is very different from the TCG. Same thing with Ben 10 and VFD. They're both it's Ben 10 over here is limited and VFD is banned. While in the OCG, Ben 10 is still at 3 and VFD is currently limited to 1, and Virtual Worlds and Drytron aren't really doing that much over there. While compared to over here, if we still had full power, if VFD was at 1 and Ben 10 was still at 3, Drytron and Virtual Worlds would still be one of the top decks in today's current format. It's because of Maxx C that changes the deck building process that it changes the format. Maxx C alone changes the format. Now, you could argue OCG does have a couple other things that are different. You know, some of this, like Skill Drain and Macrocosmos over there, it's like a 3 for some reason, which I don't understand. But Maxx C alone being in a format really does change how you're going to do the Forbidden Unlimited list. Like we get to the Block Dragon argument again. If we put Block Dragon's still probably at 3 over there because of how powerful Maxx C could be against Adamantimators. They have to counter Maxx C, meaning your hands might not look as good as it used to be compared in the TCG, where Block Dragon is banned because it was so good and there was not that many counters besides like maybe Nibiru, and that's about it. And there's also another thing that Crossout Designator is released in the OCG as well, which is another counter to Maxx C. So you also have that argument as well for going for the banned argument. They have crossout, we don't, and that card alone switches how Maxx C is countered. So that's my argument kind of thing. The OCG format is different because of Maxx C is being at 3 over there while it's banned over here. That card alone changes how all the format will be played. So there is that argument. Now let's get into my opinion. So my opinions on Maxx C. It should stay banned until Crossout Designator is released and at 3. Called by the Grave is at 3. I know it's semi-limited in OCG, but I would rather have it at 3 over just to have another counter to the Maxx C. And then Ash Blossom stays at 3. That's the easiest to stay because Ash Blossom is already at 3. But Ash needs to stay at 3 because that's another counter to Maxx C. And then I think it should be unbanned. I think once Crossout comes out and you put Called by the Grave to 3, I think Maxx C can easily come off the ban list because then those 3 cards alone would make a really good counter against Maxx C. Yes, Maxx C, people would still be pissed about Maxx C being in the format because Maxx C is a very, very good card. No one's going to deny that. It's one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. It's one of the most powerful hand traps in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. No one is going to deny that. But if you have all these cards that can counter Maxx C, then I would not argue. I would argue then it can be unbanned. Remember, this was banned when, this was banned, when Crossout Designator wasn't even a thing. I think Called By was a thing, but even then, it's just like, this was banned because of how powerful it was and there wasn't that many counters to Maxx C, unless, of course, you went first and you set like Solemn Strike or something like that. But if you're, just that card alone, if you can't stop it, it's a really powerful card, and probably why it got banned in the first place is that there wasn't that many counters to Maxx C at the time, so it got banned. And now if you release all these cards and put everything at 3, I think there would be enough to stop Maxx C. Because remember, anything that they can also activate Dimensional Shifter, but then again they can chain Maxx C to that. So I could be wrong. Ignore me on that one. So yeah, that is my opinion on Maxx C. Hopefully I did justice with the arguments and all that stuff. I know I might not have. I might have, confused some people because I know my talking sometimes confuse people on the arguments and stuff like that. So if I did confuse you, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is the end of the video, however. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more content on the channel. And please let me know in the comments down below if you think Maxx C should be banned or unbanned. I would love to read your comments. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.